Hundreds of thousands of Israelis are considering leaving the country, with one recent poll indicated a high number were seeking to move overseas.
What would make entire families pack up their lives and leave the only homeland they've ever known? Not for a short break, not for a temporary escape, but for good. That's the reality facing Israel right now, where a quiet but powerful exodus is underway. Thousands of Israelis aren't heading to Europe or America. They're heading somewhere few expected: the Philippines. Last year alone, nearly 60,000 Israelis left and never came back, a figure that's doubled in just 1 year. And with the war against Iran escalating, the outflow is only accelerating. This isn't a random migration. It's intentional. It's deeply personal, and for many, it's about finally breaking free from a cycle of fear. The people leading this wave are young families, tech professionals, entrepreneurs, and skilled workers, people with dreams, ambitions, and children in tow. They're not just running from war, they're moving toward a vision of life they feel is slipping away at home. A life with peace, balance, and the chance to truly live. But why the Philippines? To answer that, we have to go back nearly a century. In the 1930s, when Jewish families fled Europe in desperation, most of the world turned them away. Doors slammed shut, refuge was denied. Yet one nation, far from the chaos, opened its arms: the Philippines. Under President Manuel Quezon, more than 1,300 Jewish refugees were welcomed when almost no one else would. That act of compassion planted a bond between the two peoples, a bond built on courage, kindness, and shared humanity. That legacy still matters today. Israelis and Filipinos enjoy visa-free travel, growing business ties, and a cultural familiarity that makes the Philippines feel not just like an escape, but like a second home. For many Israelis, this isn't just relocation. It's about belonging. The current war with Iran, Operation Rising Lion, was the breaking point. Missiles, sirens, and constant alerts turned normal life into survival mode. Even the U.S. Embassy authorized voluntary evacuations. But beyond the rockets lies a deeper problem: exhaustion. The endless stress of raising children under constant threat. The mental toll of living every day wondering when the next attack will hit. For younger generations especially, this war wasn't just another conflict, it was the final straw. They're not only fleeing danger, they're chasing peace. The Philippines represents that hope, a place where you don't need to live in a state of permanent alert, a place where you can stop surviving and start living again. It's also a generational shift. Today's young Israelis are global-minded, entrepreneurial, and determined to build a better life. But many feel trapped by politics that never change, housing that's unaffordable, and an economy that feels like it's always on the edge of a crisis. More than 40% now say they're considering leaving. That's not just a statistic, it's a wake-up call. And the ones leaving aren't the passive. They're the builders, creators, and innovators, the very people who represent Israel's future. Yes, this is a brain drain for Israel, but for the Philippines, it's an opportunity. These migrants are bringing knowledge, energy, and investment, and they're finding something in return: a culture rooted in family, faith, and community, a life free of sirens, drills, and the endless grind of war. Imagine raising your children without air raid alarms at school, without emergency bags by the door, without living in constant fear of rockets overhead. That's what the Philippines offers: peace, normalcy, and the chance to finally breathe. For many Israelis, this isn't just an escape, it's a redefinition of what life can and should be. And in their search for stability, compassion, and hope, more and more of them are finding their answer in the islands of the Philippines. What would make entire families leave behind a country they love, a homeland their ancestors fought for, and start over halfway across the world? It's not just fear, it's the hunger for peace of mind, stability, and a future without constant alarms. That's what the Philippines is quietly offering thousands of Israelis today: a new definition of home. Here, raising a family feels safe, simple, and joyful again. Remote work has made it even more practical. With many young Israelis in tech, design, and digital industries, their jobs aren't tied to one location. All they need is a laptop and reliable internet, and suddenly, the Philippines becomes the smart choice. Affordable living, modern infrastructure, high-speed Wi-Fi, and thriving co-working hubs in Manila and Cebu check every box. Add in an English-speaking population and a time zone aligned with Europe and the Middle East, and the move isn't just convenient, it's strategic. A Tel Aviv income stretches dramatically further in the Philippines. Families can afford larger homes, better schools, and a life with far less financial strain. The result? More time together, more opportunities to thrive, and less of the suffocating pressure they left behind. For many, it isn't only about escaping conflict, it's about upgrading life itself. And then there's the heart of it all, the people. Filipino culture is defined by warmth, generosity, and family ties. That matters when you're starting over in a foreign land. Anti-Semitism is virtually non-existent, and the openness Israelis find in the Philippines creates a rare sense of belonging. A small but vibrant Jewish community in Manila already offers support, housing connections, and holiday celebrations, helping newcomers bridge the gap. Very quickly, the Philippines stops feeling like a stopover and starts feeling like home. The urgency is growing. The Israel-Iran war intensifies daily, threatening to drag global powers into a wider conflict. The uncertainty of U.S. foreign policy under President Trump only deepens the sense that the clock is running out. For many Israelis, this wave of migration is no longer just an escape, it's a turning point. The Philippines offers not only safety, but also a future. This is about more than survival. It's about finally thriving in a world where every plan isn't overshadowed by war. Southeast Asia, and especially the Philippines, offers something rare today: distance from conflict, a slower pace of life, and the peace of waking up without sirens. That freedom to plan ahead, to think about the next decade instead of the next emergency, is what makes this exodus so powerful. And unlike Europe or America, the Philippines makes the transition simple. Israelis can enter visa-free, giving them time to explore, settle, and apply for longer stays without the crushing bureaucracy other countries impose. It's almost like a try-before-you-commit model, allowing families to ease into their new lives with flexibility. For those escaping instability, that simplicity is priceless. Layer in the dramatically lower cost of living, and the benefits multiply. Bigger homes, quality healthcare, and strong education are all affordable here. A Tel Aviv budget stretches comfortably in Cebu or Davao, giving families the financial breathing room they've been denied for years. This is more than escape, it's a reset. But what truly transforms the Philippines from a safe harbor into a lasting home is the complete package. A history of compassion going back to the 1930s, open policies that make settling easier, and a culture built on family and faith. That legacy of welcome, planted nearly a century ago, still shapes how Israelis see the Philippines today. Combine that with modern opportunity, affordability, and peace, and the result is clear. This isn't just a refuge, it's a future. For Israelis, the greatest gift the Philippines offers is something simple yet priceless: the chance to live a normal life. A life centered on building, not escaping, on family, not fear, on dreaming of tomorrow instead of dreading it. And in a world gripped by uncertainty, that promise is more powerful than ever. The ripple effects of this migration won't just shape Israeli families, it will reshape the Philippines itself. Every wave of migration brings with it new energy, ideas, and possibilities. For the Philippines, the arrival of thousands of Israelis could become an unexpected catalyst for growth. Think about it. These aren't just individuals escaping danger. They're entrepreneurs, engineers, doctors, designers, and investors. People who thrive on building, innovating, and adapting. The same skills that once fueled Israel's booming tech sector and medical industries could soon flow into Philippine cities, sparking collaboration, creating startups, and opening doors to global markets. Already, whispers of Israeli-Filipino partnerships are emerging in agriculture, cybersecurity, and clean energy. Israelis bring expertise in water conservation, desert farming, and cutting-edge medical technology. Industries that could directly benefit the Philippines, a nation constantly balancing food security and healthcare challenges. What began as resettlement could quickly evolve into collaboration that transforms both societies. But this shift isn't only economic, it's cultural. Israelis moving into Filipino communities aren't outsiders clashing with locals. They're welcomed, embraced, and finding a cultural fit. Both societies are family-centered, resilient, and rooted in strong traditions. Both value hospitality, shared meals, and community spirit. That shared DNA makes integration smoother, and it builds bonds not just between individuals, but between nations. Imagine Jewish holidays being celebrated alongside Filipino fiestas. Imagine Israeli schools partnering with local institutions. Imagine Tel Aviv entrepreneurs mentoring young Filipino developers in Cebu's booming tech hubs. The blend of cultures could create something new, an Israel-Philippines connection stronger than any diplomatic treaty. And as this bond deepens, the Philippines gain something even more valuable: global visibility. For decades, the country has been seen as a labor exporter, a place where people leave to work abroad. Now, for the first time in generations, it's becoming a destination, a safe haven where people arrive to build new lives. That shift in identity could redefine how the world sees the Philippines. For Israelis fleeing conflict, the Philippines represents hope. For Filipinos, it may represent opportunity. Together, these two peoples could forge a partnership that doesn't just survive war and chaos, but builds a brighter future out of it. In the end, this isn't just about war or migration, it's about rebirth. Israelis fleeing conflict aren't simply escaping, they're rewriting their future in a land that once opened its doors when no one else would. The Philippines, with its warmth, history, and resilience, is offering more than refuge. It's offering belonging. What began as survival is transforming into opportunity, connection, and renewal. As Israelis plant new roots on these islands and Filipinos welcome them as family, a powerful message emerges. Even in the darkest times, humanity can choose compassion, and from that choice, build a brighter tomorrow.